Alright, so we did it. We're in December. In fact, we are only like 3 days until Christmas as of the day I am recording this one. So, today I'm going to give you 3 movie reviews as part of another 2 movies that are new, 3 movies actually, that are new releases that I'm going to watch. This today is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Christmas, Cabin Fever, stupid name by the way, we'll talk about that in a minute. We got Godzilla -1, this is Godzilla 2014, but we got Godzilla -1, and we got Wonka. 3 movies we're talking here today. Other video that I'm going to do, I'm also going to talk about Leave the World Behind, which is a movie on Netflix I still been meaning to watch, that released this month. We're also going to talk about, what's it called, Rebel Moon. And we're also going to talk about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which I'm going to watch this Saturday. So that's going to be another video. It's December. We got a bunch of movies that are coming out. Also, I got to catch up on a bunch of other movies that also did release this year. I got some over there, like Plane, Infinity Pool. The ones I'm mainly going to watch is this 3 right here. Exorcist, new one. The new Exorcist movie. Nun 2. And, what's that other one called? I forget what the other one's called. But I got The Covenant, the new Guy Ritchie movie. So, I still got a lot of videos I am gonna make before the end of the month here. But with that said, we are going to talk about Diary of a Wimpy Kid, then Godzilla -1, then Wonka. Spoiler alert, I liked all 3 of these movies. Diary of a Wimpy Kid's easily the worst, but I kind of dug it. I kind of dug all 3 of these movies. With that said, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, comment down below. What is your opinions on Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Christmas, Cabin Fever? Terrible name. Godzilla -1 and Wonka. And with that said, let's get started with Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Cabin Fever, or Christmas Cabin Fever. Can't forget the Christmas. It's the most random thrown word in there. Sure, it's a Christmas movie, but I don't like how it's called Christmas Cabin Fever. A little bit of a pet peeve. And these animated Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies, for me, are kind of like I don't like them. I really have never been the biggest fan of them. Thought the second one, Roger Rules, had quite a bit of heart at the end of it. I thought it had some emotional stuff that made me enjoy it. But the first one is just a complete dump, waste of a film thrown on Disney Plus for content. And I didn't like the animation style. So I've never been really the biggest fan of this. This one, by far, is easily the best one. I would go out on a whim and not be from like the first one, which I hate, and the second one, which I thought was okay. I'd go out to this one and say it's a good movie. It's progressing. It is progressing. The thing about this one is it is an original story that suits the Diary of a Wimpy Kid fandom and lore much better. It's a Christmas movie, so it takes place during Christmas and really kind of gets you in the holiday spirit. I mean, 2 of these movies I wouldn't call Wonka a holiday movie, but it gets you into the holiday spirit. You're in the holiday spirit, and that's kind of how I was watching the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie. I wasn't into Christmas, and now I got into Christmas because of this movie. It suits the Heffleys very well. This premise kind of got all the middle school hijinks, all the funness that can be taking place there. It's a bunch of fun. I never didn't like any of it. In fact, all the other movies always have these scenes that just make me cringe. Like, what is this? This is horrible. This one didn't have that. It didn't have the cringy scenes. It didn't have the terrible dialogue. It didn't have the terrible writing. It feels like, instead of just trying to make a soulless reboot, even though the second one had a bit of soul in the end, instead of trying to make a soulless reboot, they're like, you know what? It's Christmas time. We can actually make something worthwhile here. And it works. It works for this movie. It's watchable. It's only like an hour and 10 minutes, so it's a bunch of fun. And it's got a bunch of heart and emotion in the end of the movie. Cabin Fever, for me, has always been one of my favorite Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. I did grow up reading the books, and so it's always been one of my favorite books. And I think that this adaptation is pretty well and pretty entertaining, and I didn't really have that big of problems with this movie. And so I would say it's fine. Now, it doesn't fix the animation. I still hate the animation. I think it looks god-awful. Like, this is some terrible animation here. It doesn't look unique. It looks dull, boring, lifeless. I still don't like the animation. But it's a movie that is just still so fun and charming and gets you in the Christmas spirit that I gotta say, it's a positive. I'm going to give Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Christmas Cabin Fever, still a terrible name, a B+. I think it's a fine movie. I think it's a fun movie, and I think that if you want to get in the Christmas mood, this is one of your best options this holiday season, minus this movie, which we'll talk about after. Godzilla -1. I thought that this, I didn't know what this was. When I first heard about it and people started talking about it, I had no clue what this was. I was like, is this just like a Japanese movie? Or is this like a TV show on Netflix? Like they do a bunch of the time? Is this like part of the Monsterverse that no one's ever heard of? And I had no idea what this movie was. And then big name YouTubers, 3C Films, Sean Chandler, Zach Pope, everybody I watched started all of a sudden talking about this movie and giving it a lot of praise. And I was like, what is this? And so it was my birthday weekend. We drove out of town. I was like, Mom, me and you, because it's just me and you. We are going to go see this movie. She's like, okay. So we went to go see Godzilla -1. And it is surprisingly, well, I'm not even going to say surprising after all the praise that it got. It is one of the best movies of the year. It's currently at my number 4. And I am hands down shocked that it got this high after a movie that a couple weeks before I didn't even know it existed. I went to go see it and I absolutely adored it. This is top tier, one of the best movies of 2023, and for a good reason. Not only does it have the Godzilla action and all the giant monster action that you want, but it's surprisingly terrifying. At the very beginning of the movie, and it's been out for a couple weeks, so there's going to be a few spoilers here. At the very beginning of the movie, they're on this island, right? And they're walking around, and they're like, okay, nothing's happening. Then they hear a noise, and all of a sudden, Godzilla, kind of like T-Rex, hunched over like this, jump scare, and he looks terrifying. And every time Godzilla is on screen, you are terrified. I don't know if it was because of the special theater I went to, or if there's like special sound, if we went to IMAX. I don't know what it was, but it was loud and it was fierce, and kind of like the theater experience makes you shake in your seat every time Godzilla roars. The design is crazy, which is crazy because it has a less than $15 million budget. It is big in size, terrifying. Godzilla is absolutely crazy, and every scene he was in, like the water scenes, I don't like swimming in water, like it's really deep to where I can't see what's below me, and it has that here, and it's terrifying when you see Godzilla just emerge out of the water. When he's on land, you're scared. When he's underwater, you're scared. He is an absolutely terrifying monster villain, and you're scared. I'm so sick of movies like, not this one, but like Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong. Every time we get Godzilla, it's like he's a giant monsterverse god, Titan god, and we need him to stop the bad guys. No, what Godzilla truly is a pissed off lizard who wants to just, he doesn't know what's going on. All he wants is destruction. And you feel that. And it's terrifying. And I know that in every single MonsterVerse movie, you're always like, yeah, the human characters are kind of boring. That's my big problem with Godzilla vs. Kong, is you're always like, the human characters are real boring. They're not all that good. Except this movie, of course. I really do love this movie. I never liked it before, but like rewatching a couple times this year, I really liked it. Anyways, this movie, you have the phenomenal characters. Phenomenal characters with a fantastic storyline at large here. This movie absolutely has some of the best character work you've seen all year. It's shocking for a Godzilla movie. It does everything right. It has the giant Godzilla set design looking awesome. The terrifying moments and the human characters and their story are just emotional and deep and really actually good. Like, it's a really good story. At the first bit, I was like, okay, it's interesting, but I kind of want Godzilla to come back. But then we get to a part after Godzilla attacks a town, or the city, and he goes in the water. You get like a whole hour of no Godzilla, and you don't mind. I sat there like, I never thought once, where's Godzilla? I was invested in the story, because essentially, main character is a failed kamikaze pilot. He was going to go fly a plane into the war, and he was going to die, but he cowered out. And so he feels like he's kind of a failure. He's trying to find stuff for life. And this is a war-struck Japan. This is a Japan that's still reeling from war. So they have all this destruction come. And you just feel that. You feel Godzilla presence being like this big impact on them. And you kind of feel the emotions here. You feel for the characters that you're following this whole movie, which is shocking. It's shockingly interesting plot line for a Godzilla movie and the humans, to where you can have a whole hour of the movie and not feel bored without any Godzilla. And the moment Godzilla shows back up, you are terrified. This is one of the best theater experiences ever. This is the first foreign film, I think, besides Train to Busan, this is the first foreign film I have ever seen, really. Like, I've only seen Train to Busan, and this is the first one I've even seen in the theaters. I never minded the subtitles. I never got bored by it. I think that this is one of the best theater experiences, and, well, it would have been one of the best theater experiences, but I did have a little girl sitting behind me and my mom, and she was coughing. She was like 5 years old, and they took her to a Godzilla movie. Like, what's wrong with the parents? It's one of the best theater experiences, just how scary it was. One of the best movies of the year. For a Godzilla movie, it sure does quite a bit of things right. I think I wouldn't call it a negative, just a little nitpick. At the beginning of the movie, kind of slow to get going. Like, before you get all of Godzilla and his terrifyingness, you feel like you kind of want to get through that a little bit, I guess. I wouldn't say I was bored by it, but I say, like, I kind of thought to myself, just like at the beginning, the first half hour of No Godzilla, I was like, I kind of want Godzilla to show up. And then when he shows up, he doesn't leave, and then we get a whole hour without Godzilla, and kind of fixes the pacing a little bit. That's the only, like, little nitpick I have. I don't think it really impacts my score here. I still think this is one of the best movies of the year, and that's why for Godzilla Minus One, it's going to get an A. Not good enough to get an A+, but it's going to get an A, and maybe when I watch it again, it'll even move up to get an A+. This movie is awesome. I would have recommended you go see that one, but I'm pretty sure it's already out of the theaters. Instead, the movie that I'm mainly going to recommend to you go see is Wonka, which is crazy because when they first announced the idea, I was like, that's a kind of a cool idea. I never really liked Wonka or the stories. I've never fully seen a movie, but I've never really been a fan of the story of everything I've seen or the book or anything. And so it might be a cool idea to have a bit of a new fresh take on Willy Wonka. And then the trailers came out and I thought to myself, okay, this looks pretty bad. And, you know, I really thought it looked bad and I didn't want to see it. My brother's like, we're going to go see this movie. I'm like, I'll go see it because of you and because I'm a film critic, but I will not be excited to go watch this movie. I will not be anticipating this movie. I was not excited for it whatsoever. And then, like, the reviews came out. They all said, yeah, it's a fun movie. Still thought I would be bored by it. I didn't think it was going to be good. And I went into the theater. I tried to give myself an open mind, but deep down I thought it wasn't going to be good. It's actually a really good movie. It is really good. And I'm shocked to say that because I thought the trailers were miserable. I thought a lot of things looked miserable. And I'm shocked that this is in my top 15 of the year. I've seen 70 movies this year, tonight, once I watch Rebel Moon. That'll be 70 movies so far. And this is number 12 on my list. That's how fun the movie was. This, without a doubt, is the best family film that is released all year. Let's start with the positives. Timothée Chalamet. Never really seen a movie that was in. I never saw Dune. Just saying, I'm going to watch Dune soon. I'm going to go see Dune Part 2, so obviously, but I never saw Dune. I've never seen him in a role. I've never actually seen him in a movie before. So I didn't know what his acting chops were, and at first I thought, you know, it's fine. His performance is fine, but he's got a really charming performance, and for the character of Willy Wonka, the charming character, like I said, I've never seen a movie, so I don't really know, but I feel like he captured the character pretty well. I think that Timothée Chalamet is a phenomenal Willy Wonka, especially for being a young one. I think he was pretty great here. And the rest of the cast, very good too. Even though, like, at the beginning of the movie, I wasn't sure. Even with the trailers, I was like, I don't think that the cast looks very good here. The movie, they all have their wit and charm about them, and it's pretty fun. It can be pretty fun. The movie is very charming and could be pretty emotional. Thing is, there's a subplot story about this little girl trying to find her parents, and it's just kind of a nice subplot, kind of being in there. You get the twist where, been out for a couple weeks, so obviously spoilers here too. You get the twist where the main bad guys, like, it's complicated. I don't really know how to explain it, but they're related, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, that's an interesting twist. But it can be pretty emotional, specifically when you get in the end, and he's singing the song that Willy Wonka is most famous for, and she finds her mother. I was like, dang, am I tearing up right now? I was. Like, I couldn't believe that a movie to where Willy Wonka had never been my type of movie. I couldn't believe that I was starting to get emotional, nostalgic watching this movie. I was at an absolute shock that, like, whoa, this is good stuff. That was really good. The musical numbers, I didn't tell my brother it was a musical until, like, I don't know, 3 seconds before we walked into the theater. So he was like, he hates musicals. I was like, hey, Jacob, did you know this is a musical? He's like, what? I was like, yeah. He's like, hold on. He Googled his phone, and then he's like, I hate you. So every time there was a song, he looked over at me like this. He was like, really? And I was like, yeah. But the songs for me, even though I wasn't sure if I'd like it to be in the musical, songs for me were pretty good. I thought all the songs were catchy enough, entertaining enough. They had a bit of wit, and Timothée Chalamet can really play Willy Wonka. Back to the cast. Timothée Chalamet absolutely carries this movie as Willy Wonka. He is really good. This movie's got all the charm, all the fun, all the emotions you want for a solid holiday flick. That it's not even, it's like based during wintertime. It's not like a Christmas movie. It gets you into the holiday charm. It's a feel-good movie of the year. You feel good watching this movie. All of the plot lines wrap around can be really good. You feel good watching it. And the movie can be quite funny, too. Like, it's a kid's movie. It was a Willy Wonka movie. I found myself laughing too much that I thought I would. I thought this was just a very charming, emotional movie that is easily the biggest surprise of the year for me. I know I said Blue Beetle was before. This one is now my biggest surprise of the year. Of all the doubts I had for it, I came out of this one saying it is absolutely the family film of the year, and I highly encourage you to go see it. I was super glad I did, even though I didn't want to. I was super glad I did. I missed football. I missed the Chiefs beating the Patriots finally to go see this movie because I'm a film critic mainly, but also a movie I didn't want to see. And I came out of it saying it is one of the best movies of the year. I cannot recommend this movie enough. That's why this movie is also going to get an A. I know it's all the way at 12, while Godzilla Minus One's at 4. It's a bit of complicated risk. I am going to do a live stream for that. But I'm going to go watch Rebel Moon. And I'm also going to watch Leave the World Behind. I'm going to go see Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom this Saturday. I already have tickets, so I'm going to do that. Also got... I'm going to watch The Covenant, maybe, Plane. And I know I'm going to watch Nun 2 and Exorcist Believer. All those movies are coming out. I'm also going to do a DCEU ranking. Hunger Games ranking is going to be my next video. I also have predictions for the next week of NFL on my YouTube channel. Thank you guys for clicking on this one. And with that said, subscribe to join the Nerd Army. Peace out.